Quick note, that's dumb. I don't understand. Like, I don't understand how I do this. How do I have a YouTube channel? There, that's good enough.
Yeah. Hey Internet, it's Aaron, your personal driver, and today I have a collaboration video with another YouTuber whose name is North Carolina RIDESHARE. The link's in the description. We talk basically about Uber versus Lyft. It's more of a conversation between two drivers who have been doing this for a couple years. So I'd like to share that with you. Obviously go check his channel out. He's a cool guy. We had a good time. So I hope you enjoy it. Mystro! Alright guys, if this is your first time here, welcome to my channel. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button below and the stupid YouTube bell icon so you can get notifications when I upload a video or I do a live stream. Speaking of live streams, every Wednesday I do a live AMA, so you can ask me any question you want to. And on Friday and Saturday I do live in-car driver ride-alongs, so you're welcome to join me on those. We had a lot of complications getting this done. First off, Washington and Colorado are close. We're on the west coast of the United States, but we're not that close, right? Getting from northern Colorado to Seattle, Washington is extremely hard, but we managed to make it work. And Northern Colorado RIDESHARE was staying with his family members, so originally we were going to shoot this video at his family's house where he was staying. We're going to do it like in a living room, and it was going to be really nice and everything. However, some emergency stuff happened, so we couldn't actually do it in the house. We had to go outside. And the town he lived in was this little small area, and plus it was the middle of winter time, right? So it was like in northern Washington, you know, it's like 30 degrees outside, so it's pretty cold. But we did it anyway, and the only place we could find was this little park. So there's a lot of background noise. I didn't bring the equipment. He didn't bring the equipment to deal with filming something like that with good enough audio quality to get rid of the cars in the background, you know, people running around doing their thing in this small little podunk town. So I almost didn't want to upload this video, but I watched the video, I edited the video, and there's really good information in this. And that's, I mean, it's I had to upload it because if you're new to RIDESHARE, if you're interested in RIDESHARE, or if you've been doing this for a long time, there's a lot of quality information in here. So do your best to ignore the background noise that you can, and enjoy. There's two different HD videos. I brought my HD camera, he brought his HD camera, so I kind of flipped back and forth between those two so you could enjoy it. And I really think you guys are going to enjoy it, so that's pretty fantastic.
Hey everybody, Justin here with Northern Colorado RIDESHARE with Aaron from Your Personal Driver.
What's up, guys?
How's it going, everybody? We're out here in Enumclaw, Washington, of all places, right? Doing a little bit of collaboration and gonna talk about some RIDESHARE stuff today.
So I guess the first thing I'll ask you is, would you do both, or you just do one or the other? Or?
Yeah, I do both. Yeah. I think both is better. You know, in some markets, Lyft is busier than Uber, and other markets, it's the other way around. So I think it's important to do both. You can hopefully maximize your time while you're out there. You know, getting a ping when it's dead on one platform, hopefully get a ping on another one.
So I did something unique. I registered for Lyft in Oregon, so I could drive in Portland, Oregon, which is on the Oregon-Washington state border. And I registered for Lyft in Washington. So when I was driving in Washington, I do Lyft. Then I'd go down south, and then I do Lyft there. So I kind of am registered for both, but I only drive in each kind of thing. Because Portland's a busy city. So like they'd have like festivals, like beer festivals and wine festivals. They have a rose festival every year. So I'd go down there and then just make a killing down there doing Lyft, and I'd switch it and come back up to Washington and do Uber on the day-to-day.
Yeah, I think that's great, especially if you're in a place like this where you're close to both. You know, you can crisscross over. You know, I'm in the Denver market, so I'm just in a huge city as it is with a huge metropolitan area. You know, very similar to, you know, the Seattle area. It's a big metro area and there's a lot of places to drive, but you know, I think it's you know, some days Uber's just crazy and I don't have any Lyft pings at all, and then other days it's the other way around. So I think it's important to have both.
I think for most drivers, you would be crazy not to have both.
I think so.
There are just some days, for whatever reason, that, you know, Uber is slow, and so you can supplement that gap with Lyft. There's only a few cities where Lyft is as busy or busier than Uber, right? So like Portland is one of them. And in Seattle, it's like 60-40, so it's almost half and half. But I think most cities, probably a third. That's just a number I made up right now. They're a third as busy based on my brain.
Well, you know, and recently, and I don't know if it was the same up here, but you know, in Denver, there was, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, like Uber was having issues with the app for some reason, and people are having a hard time getting on there. So, you know, if you were only an Uber driver and Uber's app is having a problem, you're done. You're not making any money. There's no way to make money.
That's a really good point. Congratulations. That was way more than I have to say. Because the apps, when they update or sometimes they crash, it's always good to have a backup.
Yeah.
That happens a lot where there'll be an update or a crash and you can switch over to the other. I think it's like a safeguard there.
Yeah.
Do you notice any difference between like passengers that take Uber versus Lyft?
I don't personally. So I haven't really noticed the difference between the passengers on Uber and Lyft, but I tend to drive, you know, afternoons and early evenings, so I'm getting more of the commuter traffic. I don't do the bar close scene, I don't do that bar scene and drive late at night, so I don't necessarily deal with that side of it. So the passengers that I'm seeing at the times that I'm driving, they tend to be the commuters, you know, going to and from work or maybe going out to early dinner or something like that. So I don't really notice a difference. I know that the passengers seem to think that their Lyft drivers are friendlier than their Uber drivers, which I find funny because the huge majority of us are all the same.
It's all the same. So I think that Lyft drivers tip more in the app. Now I don't know if they tip more than Uber, because Uber drivers, you know, but since it's been available on the Lyft platform for so long, I think that they're just more used to doing it.
Yeah.
So my record for in-app tips was I got 99 bucks in 2 days. It was about 30 hours. I did like 2 15-hour shifts down in Portland, which that's crazy, because if I had done it like I normally do, you know, you do like a 5-day spread, that's almost $300 I would have made in in-app tips. That being said, I don't almost make no cash when I'm doing Lyft. So I actually don't have that comparison like where I write it down to see if that's just, it just feels like they tip more. I think maybe because I'm seeing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's habit for Lyft driver or Lyft riders to tip in the app, where it's not quite habit for the Uber people to do it yet.
Did you have any trouble signing up with Lyft versus Uber, like the process?
No, I signed up with Uber first, went through the process, and I lucked out. They were doing a bunch of free onboarding events, which was cool. So I just went into the hotel and signed up all right there. It was cool because I'd signed up online first, so it started the background process, and then I just had to go in for the medical and the vehicle inspection. So I waited long enough between that when I went to the onboarding that I went in, did my medical, did my car inspection, and I was active right then and there because the background had already come back. So it was a piece of cake. And then when I decided to sign up for Lyft, I just took all my Uber stuff and just submitted it, and I was active within like a day.
That's awesome. I find signing with Lyft is a pain in the ass, because they, you know, I don't know how they do it in every state, but here what they did was you had to like go into the Lyft office and like do a pretend ride with a Lyft ambassador. So like I was like, I mean, I don't know what I was supposed to do. Like, it felt like a driving test at the DMV, right? I was like, "Hi, are you Bob?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm Bob. You signed up for this. You signed up for this." Like, "What do you mean, are you Bob?" So I thought I had to like pretend like we was interacting with the customer. Like, I drive around a little bit and then I come back and I'm like, so anyway. And with Uber, like, I don't even think they care.
Yeah,
like,
we didn't have to do that with Lyft, but I do remember now that I'm thinking about it, I had to go to an onboarding event with Lyft, and they had their Lyft ambassadors there, which I think they've gotten rid of that, or at least there's talk about getting rid of it, and we had to sit through like a little presentation, but other than that, it was easy.
Okay. Do you prefer to take one or the other?
Like as a rider?
As a driver.
Oh, as a driver. You know, I don't care. It doesn't matter. I can say that where I'm at, Uber is way busier, so I get a lot more Uber.
I think, yeah, that's probably standard. I love taking Lyft, man. I prefer Lyft as a driver because I feel like the people who take Lyft are more like tech savvy, I guess. You know, like it's like not like Uber's like a brand that everyone knows about, right? Like, we call tissue Kleenex. Like, Kleenex isn't a thing. That's a company that makes tissue, right? But we know all tissue as Kleenex. So even when you're buying non-Kleenex brand tissue, you still call it Kleenex, right? I feel like the same about Uber. People taking Lyft still call it an Uber. So I feel like more people in general like are exposed to Uber, but people who use Lyft are like more in the know, right? It's more like a real specific type of company. So I feel like they're less likely to be late. You know, they're more often they're like ready to go when you pick them up. I have a lot less problems with them using the app on their end. So I just feel like it's just smoother all the way around. So I don't know, I like Lyft better. Although I will say this, like Uber's app is like kicks Lyft's ass like by tenfold. Like it's not even close on that.
Yeah, the Uber app is definitely more user friendly and has been for a long time. And I think Lyft is trying to play some catch up on that. You know, just recently they added, you know, how they show us our fares and what we've made. You know, Uber for a long time has shown what we're making, what we're walking home with. You know, and Lyft has just now, you know, started that here within the past few weeks.
If you go like a Facebook forum or some kind of like online group where a bunch of drivers are, that Lyft pays the drivers more than Uber. But I don't think that's true. I just think that they're confused because Uber shows you what you make after Uber takes its cut, and Lyft just like, it's almost like they're lying to you, right? They show you the total amount, and it's not until you go into your profile that you see the difference between what you made and what not. So when Uber says you made $100, that's what's going in your bank account, right? But when Lyft says you make $100, that's actually $75 going in your bank account. And so I'm glad they finally made the switch, because one, I hate doing the math in my head, right? Like, I don't have to think about it. And two, I think it's just more honest, which like seems to be, like Lyft wants to be the more honest rideshare company. I don't know if that's true, but that's what they want.
Yeah, I think, you know, Lyft is, we're the community friendly folks, and we're nice to our drivers and nice to our riders, but I don't know, I honestly I can't tell the difference.
So I agree that right now it's hard to tell the difference between the two companies, because it seems like every time Lyft comes out with a feature, Uber updates their app with a very similar, if not exact, feature, and every time Uber comes out with a feature, Lyft does something similar, right? So they're almost exactly the same. But I feel like there was a time when it was like, it was obvious Lyft was better, you know, when they were first starting out.
Yeah.
And I just think that now that they've established themselves, they don't have to play games to get people to recognize them, right? They can do the same thing because now it's almost accepted. Like they're not new anymore. They're not the new kids on the block. So all the discounts and incentives are gone.
Yeah. You know, let's be honest, Uber's taken some hits here lately in the past few months, especially, you know, most recently with the hack that happened. I mean,
well, it wasn't that the hack happened like that, because really, honestly, they didn't get that important of information. Like there's no social security numbers, there was no bank accounts. It was like license plate numbers, driver's license numbers. So like you can get all that stuff if you want to jump through the hoops of doing that. Most of that stuff is public record. It's what's gonna get Uber is they covered it up, right? When you have a data breach, especially on that scale, you have to let the public know about it. And not doing it, I mean, not only is that unethical, it's a crime. Like in California, you know, like the Justice Department in California is going after Uber, and that's gonna hurt, you know? So California's they're gonna win that. It's kind of hard to deny that.
Yeah, I think it's like you said, it's the not telling people, you know, that was worse. It's that trust, and, you know, what information do they have, and, you know, why didn't they tell us? And, you know, so that's gonna hurt them for sure, and they're gonna have
the new CEO knew too.
Yeah.
So that's the thing is he taking over the company, he should have complied with, like, right, there's nothing you can do. You walk into a situation, you're new, they've been doing this, well, you can't do anything about that, right? You can't change that company's past. But once you're the CEO, man, you should be changing that kind of culture, right? He should have definitely been like, hey, I'm the new CEO and we're gonna release this right now, and because by him knowing and not doing anything, that's even worse, man. All the lawsuits and stuff, all the drama happened, maybe he didn't have time to get to like the 15th thing on the list, right? All these other things he gotta do it first. And he's like, oh, I didn't read number 15.
So what do you think, have you seen here recently where some of the execs at Lyft went out and started driving passengers around? Have you seen that?
Yes, so that's a marketing campaign, I agree with that, but I think two things should happen. One, every employee of all these companies should make their employees at least drive once, right? Like, if not a lot of drive, at least once, get in there so they know what they're doing. And I definitely think that if you're going to be in a management situation, that you should have to do it like quarterly. Is where today's your Uber day. You're just, I get you. You're the director of marketing, but today you're an Uber driver, or you're a Lyft driver, or an Uber driver, whatever. And I think that makes the most sense. I also think drivers should get 1 free ride a year. The reason I think that is, I think drivers forget what it's like to be a passenger. And they forget sometimes the app is glitchy, right? Like we get pissed when we come to the destination and the passenger's not there. Well, sometimes that's not the passenger's fault. I mean, sometimes it is because, you know, the passengers are stupid, but sometimes it's not. And I think that you need to, operate at least once a year to remind yourself, okay, this is what it's like to be in somebody else's car.
Well, when I signed up with Uber, I was talking to the lady that was doing all my stuff, and I said, oh, do you drive? And she says, no, we can't. We're not allowed to. And I thought that was really odd. Like, so you got these people that are signing up drivers that these new people are asking questions about what's going on, and then we just get this canned response answer instead of an answer from somebody that not only works for Uber, but has driven and picked up passengers and dropped off passengers and can give you some of those insights. So I think that would be important, and it helps them to understand what we're dealing with. So when we have a complaint or an issue that we're trying to deal with, maybe with the passenger or the app or whatever, you know, those people have a little bit more understanding of the actual process of driving for one of these companies.
Well, that's because of referrals though. You can't have the person signing up Uber drivers also a driver because they have a referral code.
Yeah.
So they could just use their referral code every time someone came into the office to sign up. That, I mean, they should still have to do it, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think if you're an Uber or Lyft employee and you're driving, you know, if you're driving as an Uber or Lyft employee, then you're being paid by the company, so, you know, no referral code for you, so there's no...
I'm sure the technology exists to onboard that employee and not give them a referral code, or if they do use their referral code, you know, you just don't give that person the bonus. I'm sure that's available. But what it would do is, when there's a glitch in the app, when there's a problem, because a lot of times people go to the Green Hub and they'll say like, hey, my GPS isn't showing up correctly or whatever, right? Then they'll have experience that and know how to fix it. Where now they're like, I don't know. Sucks.
Yeah. Just refresh your app. Just log out and log back in. Seems to be the canned answer for everything.
Have you ever used Uber or Lyft as a customer?
Yeah.
You have? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. There are a lot of drivers who have it.
Yeah. Not a ton, but yeah, I use it. It's convenient. Plus, I like to check out my competition.
When you are a passenger, do you find yourself to be like more critical? Like, I used to be a server and a bartender like back in the day when I was going through college and stuff like that. So I have a certain expectation, like, because I'm a bad server, okay? If you had my section, you're like, this guy sucks at his job. I'm not good at it. That's why I didn't do it long term. So basically my opinion is, if I can do this job, that's the baseline. You have to do this job as good as I can, otherwise you are like, you know, you're terrible. So I hold like servers and bartenders to, like, I call it the Aaron standard. But I feel like I'm a really good driver, right? So like I feel like sometimes I'm easier on, like, you know what I'm saying? Like when I get in my Lyft or an Uber, like I'm like unhappy with something, like, well, you know, I'm so good that maybe it's okay that they're so bad. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not a driver that offers a ton of amenities. I actually offer no amenities, to be honest with you. I have charging cables available if people want them. I don't have them out. I don't have one of those power pods. I don't have all this stuff in there because it's stuff that gets broken and it's an expectation that gets set, you know. The whole point of Uber and Lyft was this ride share, right? Like someone else is kind of going your direction and is giving you a ride, you know, but a lot of people I think were offering water and snacks and all this stuff, and then the expectation has been there, and then we have drivers that complain about, I'm getting bad ratings because I don't have a charging cable. Well, the expectation's been built and in place for some of these riders that that's to be expected in an Uber or Lyft, and I don't think it is, and I don't offer that stuff. I
hear you there, but so like I guess what I'll say is Amazon.com was a book buying and sharing website. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, yeah. That's all they did, and then over time it grew into something else. And so I hear you that it's an arms race, right? if everyone has water and you don't, it looks like you're like not preparing, right? And now people are putting in TV and like video games and movies and all this other stuff. So at some point, you know, it's like you know, everyone's trying to be better than everybody else, and that competition is too rough of a marketplace. So I hear you on that, but you know, I think it's a little disingenuous to think that rideshare now is like what it was 7 years ago, where you would just carpool with somebody on the way to work and use an app to do that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that's not the world in which we live anymore. Like that's how it started. It was just like some cool stuff college kids did, like, hey buddy, you know.
Well, what I find interesting though about, you know, the amenities, like I'm all about taking care of people, but it's not like when a rider requests an Uber or Lyft, they don't know that you've got water. They don't know that you've got charging cables. They don't, you know what I'm saying? There's no way to advertise that piece, you know. And so these people that do it to expect like they're gonna get a good rating, or, you know, or tips, or, you know, things like that. I don't know. It's just, to me, it feels like it's a little bit overboard, you know, to offer all that stuff and all those crazy amenities. If you want to do it, I mean, that's cool. You know, if you want to have the 40-inch TV in your back of your minivan so people can watch whatever, I mean, go for it, you know.
Yeah, so there's two things about that. One is Uber used to be a black car company, and that's what they did, is like black car and limo. And there were industry expectations for private cars. So if you got in a car with somebody, you were in a black car or a limo or something like that, you expect there to be water and mints and gum. And so when Uber decided to go from black car to rideshare, like some of these other companies are, because Uber wasn't the first rideshare, they were just became the biggest. That carried over from that culture, you know. So Uber just always had water, and so they were trying to present rideshare. They were trying to present rideshare as like a black car service, even though for private people. I mean, that's not really, you know, that's not really how it is. I think a lot of Uber users do have that expectation because they've been using the service for so long, and that's just the standard.
Yeah.
And the other thing I'll say is, you know, when Lyft first came out, they had this thing called themed Lyft, which was like, it wasn't like official or whatever. It was just a bunch of Lyft drivers in San Francisco who put like movies and video game stuff in their car, and it like became like a little San Francisco subculture, like almost like a Reddit, almost like in Reddit you have like a subreddit where the thing is like, there was like this themed Lyft thing where drivers were like putting movies in their car and video games and stuff like that. And now you have Uber and Lyft merging together, and most Lyft drivers are Uber drivers, most Uber drivers are Lyft drivers. And so like those different cultures over here kind of combined, and now it's just like, I mean, it can get pretty crazy in there sometimes. Like I put video games in my car, and I think that, one, it keeps drunk people from bothering me, because I work in the bar, right? And the closer to 2 a.m. you get, the more video games are going to make you happy.
I'm going to talk about cargo.
Cargo? Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to do cargo?
Yeah, I'm waiting.
That seems like a weird thing. You're like, I don't have charging cables, I don't have water.
I know, but
I got all this food. Do you want a shot of?
So I'll talk. We'll go into that, and I'll explain why, where my flip is on that. So for me, you know, driving, you know, this is part-time for me. This isn't my full-time gig. So when I'm out there, I'm trying to maximize my time, right, and to maximize my income as best I can. So, you know, for me to go out and buy a bunch of snacks and just offer free snacks to people, yeah, I can deduct those on my taxes, right? But I've got to put that money out, you know. So I'm looking for ways to maximize my time, and that's why I think it's important to do both, you know, Uber and Lyft if you can, and other things as well. But you know, one of the new things that's out there, you know, is cargo, where they're offering snacks in the car for drivers to hand out, but we get paid for that when we hand out snacks.
The car vending machine.
So it's like a vending machine, you know, and so here I am saying that I don't offer snacks and those amenities. Well, you know, the cargo piece allows me to have that there, but I can make income off of handing somebody a small bag of Cheez-Its, for example.
So I'm not on the cargo bandwagon, and I've been offered to do it because of my YouTube channel and stuff like that. But the reason I'm not on the bandwagon is because I used to give out small chocolates. Well, this is what happened, is my kid went to get all this Halloween candy, and I was like, gonna throw away 3/4. I'm not gonna let my kid eat 3 bags of candy, right? So I was like, I'll give it out in the Uber so people will like it. I mean, you know, maybe, you know, it doesn't cost me anything. He got it all from the neighbors. I'm gonna throw it away anyway, so I gave it away like as snacks in the car like you were talking about. And all that did was ensure that after every ride, I have to double check to see how much trash was in the back seat, or if they like sat on a Snickers or something like that and rubbed chocolate in the seat or just caused a total mess. And the second part of that is, I don't want to have to waste all my time after every ride explaining to these idiots how to use the app, right? Like there will be a time when it's normalized and people figure it out and enough people have their cargo in their car to where they'll be like, oh, I know how to do this. But it's new, man, so every person's gonna be like, hey, how do you do this? Oh, the app isn't working. Hey, can I just give you $1 for it? You know, like that's not how it works. You can't just give away the inventory because they keep track of it electronically, right?
Right.
And it's gonna be too much drama at first. So I think I will do cargo, but I'm gonna give it like 6 or 7 months in my area for people to kind of like figure it out. And then the third thing is, man, I'm just gonna eat everything. Like I am gonna be the reason my cargo fails, right? Like the #1 rule for drug dealers is don't use your own supply yourself, right? Because then you're gonna be shorted, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm like, oh, I'll take some of this 5-hour energy. I need it, bam. You know, I'm like, oh yeah, these cookies are delicious. And so I just know I don't have the self-control to do cargo.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, it's not in my market yet. They're saying it's coming. I've been in contact with them too because of my YouTube channel, and they say they're gonna send me a box early. We'll see. You know, but I'll give it a try. If it totally sucks, then I'm just gonna put the thing in my garage and it'll sit there. But I think it's, you know, it's maybe an opportunity for us to, as drivers, to maybe make some extra income. And like I said, we're definitely gonna go through the growing pains. There's no doubt about it. But I think hopefully it'll eventually be a money
this issue. I know that I am wrong. Okay, so I'm not saying that. Like, I know I'm in the minority, and this is really popular, especially amongst the YouTube channels. Like, every YouTuber loves cargo. It doesn't matter what channel you go to on YouTube, everyone has one, and like they love it. So I'm not saying that it's a bad idea. I'm just saying, like, wait, like, hold.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys that, you know, I'll give it a try. Because if I don't give it a try, then you never know. I'll give it a try. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, well, then it's out of here. You know?
Like, it's gonna get normalized, I think. But, you know, then again, the problem is we're only gonna be doing this job for like another 2 years. And then it won't exist anymore, right? So maybe by the time everyone gets used to it, you know, they're not gonna put this in the non-autonomous cars, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. or they'll have like actual vending machines in there, right? Like you push the code and it spits out whatever you want. For sure.
So who do you think is long-term going to be like the winner, right? Like, who's going to be the Yahoo or the Netscape of rideshare, and who's going to be the Google or Firefox of it?
Yeah, that's a good question. As of late, you know, I thought here not too long ago, I thought Uber was just going to control everything. You know, they've raised so much money. You know, Lyft is still playing catch up. They're just kind of the little brother. But, you know, here pretty recently, Uber's kind of taken a hit, and they're talking about investors now are talking about maybe not investing in Uber. So I don't know. I think it's the sky's the limit, and I don't know. That's a tough one right now.
So what happened, in my opinion, is when Kalanick, the old CEO, got kicked out, what happened was some venture capitalists who invested in Uber pulled him aside, and then went into like a hotel room and had a conversation. And he left that hotel room and then stepped down, right? So once the people who are giving Uber their billions are like, you done messed up, son, right? Or
yeah,
you're done, move along, someone else is gonna take over. Like, that's almost unheard of, right? Because that's not what VCs do. They don't manage companies, they give funding and then take a profit at the end of it, right? Like, if you're so rich that you can give $1 billion to somebody and be like, you know, if I lose this $1 billion, I'm gonna be okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't manage that company. Like, you don't care what they do. You just want to return on your profit. So the fact that that happened, like, it blew my mind. And then SoftBank, you know, SoftBank, the thing is they're buying shares like at 40 to 50% reductions of what they're worth. And the venture capitalists are like, yes, here, take my money. Like, it's a good investment for me to lose almost half of this venture so I don't lose everything. And then on top of that, you have some of the old VCs that invested in Uber come over and start investing in Lyft.
Yeah.
And I know just because you have $10 billion doesn't make you smarter than everyone else necessarily. People who make money in venture capitalist situations, they're good at what they do, right? Like, otherwise you just take your $10 million and put it in the stock market and you don't worry about it, right? So these VCs, basically, once they flipped on Uber, that's when I was like, All right, well, Uber's done.
Yeah.
Because if their investors are fleeing to Lyft, it's game over, man.
Yeah.
Where's our money gonna come from?
And it seemed like it happened really fast.
Yeah.
When Travis was out, when Travis was out and Dara came in, it was like this flip. Like people were excited. Uber, like, here we go, 180 days of change. We're gonna do all this stuff. You know, we want to really listen and make these changes, and things were starting to look up, and then all of a sudden it like kind of hit a wall again. And it seems like now Uber's back in the news again for the wrong reasons, and I think Uber's hurting for sure, but I think Lyft's gonna have to work hard though at the same time. It's not just gonna come to them.
Yeah. Well, Lyft is doing autonomous cars now in Boston. So, like, I'm not ready to slam the gavel yet, right? Like, there's these warning signs.
Yeah.
But if in 6 months, you know, so May, July rolls around, and it works, and they start expanding to other cities,
yeah.
Ooh, I might start digging that 6-foot hole. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, because Uber's not that close. And what will happen is once Lyft launches their we're ready. We're gonna buy the Chevy Bolts or whatever they're gonna buy. We're gonna put them on the road. We're gonna do autonomous. You can now take a Lyft at like a 50 or 60% reduction in price because that's what the overhead's gonna cost us. And Uber freaks out and then puts some crappy autonomous product out there to catch up with Lyft, and that drives people off bridges and stuff like that because they're not there yet. That'll be the end of it, I think. That'll be when Uber's like, dun 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 dun.
Yeah, I don't, you know, a lot of people are worried about the autonomous stuff, and I don't think it's going to be as big of an impact. Like, it's going to happen, but I think there's way too much regulatory stuff that's involved. Every state's going to have rules. The federal government's going to have rules, and I think that that's going to be a big hurdle. They have to start somewhere, so of course they have to start the process. But I think it's a lot farther out than what people think it is. It's definitely coming for sure. But
I mean, it's here, man. Like Google's Alphabet company is doing autonomous rideshare in Arizona right now.
Yeah. I
mean, they only have like 16 or 20 cars or vans, but you can do it right now. You can get in their car, and the technology's there. They can do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure. There's no doubt about it. Like, the autonomous piece is going to be interesting. It's going to be, you know, an arms race between everybody. Lyft, Uber, Google, Tesla, everybody.
China's coming over with, I forget their app, what they call, but their equivalent of Uber.
Yep.
They're coming to the United States, and they're going to try to push autonomous too. But what'll happen is it'll be like specific cities, like Pittsburgh, Phoenix, Boston. So like if you have a job in like Nebraska, Uber and Lyft aren't coming to Nebraska to take your job. Like you can Uber in Omaha with those college kids and stuff like for 10 years.
Yeah.
Now if you're in a bigger city, Chicago, LA, you know, New York, San Francisco, stuff like that. I don't know, man. You might be driving next to robots soon. Like your job, you might be done. It might be starting to look at something else. So I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be crazy, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.